Yo les gens, j'espère que vous allez bien, moi ça va tranquillou. J'ai mal aux dents. Mal aux dents de ouf. Pas beaucoup parlé. Encore moins que d'habitude. J'ai évité de bouger ma mâchoire. Ça c'est bon. Cog, est-ce que tu fonctionnes ou pas? Fais pas d'effort. Hmm. Mhm.
The unpromising race pupil returns.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you!
Hell no. I'm just an honest scab. I won't have talk like that around here. You understand?
His neck muscles tense up. The veins on his neck bulge.
Fucking bug. How about you fuck off now, huh?
Okay, of course.
There could be weapons aiming at us right now. Somewhere above, in the buildings. The other merc. Don't push this, he's thinking. The man's breathing steadies, but his eyes are still narrow. Slowly, he's trying to get his right-to-work dance back on. It's hard to do that when you want to beat a man into a pulp instead.
Don't think so.
Suddenly, this feels like a really, really bad idea. Wordless, he takes the photo and looks at it. Grey eyes dart back and forth on the glossy surface. His face is unmoving. You see dead flesh in colorful rivers of polychrome, melting skin and hair.
Fucking loincloths. Really did him in. Yeah.
He's clenching his teeth. There is silent pressure behind them.
What it means. I can tell you what this one means. Only one. You want to hear what happened here? Our colonel is deep in the bush here. Deep in the fucking bush. In Benital, 41. Monsoon season. He's on a reconnaissance mission. He's spent a month behind enemy lines, scouting kipped villages. Nothing but fucking bugs and snakes for fun. Men are getting restless. There's talk of switching employers.
With some strange emotion, this is about to get really graphic. Last moment to back off.
Our boy, he's only a captain then, but he knows how these men think. If they don't see action soon. At dawn, he comes upon two kips, breeding in the bushes by the river. Or maybe they weren't breeding. Maybe they were just making eyes at each other. I like to think they were breeding. We shot the boy. He was useless, but the girl, she was nice. A little fat, you know, but not too old. She was quite the entertainment for the week she lasted, expired in the hands of Sarge Mason, the kind of guy who'd make Chief there shit his pants and cry like a bitch. God, Mason couldn't let go. Cut the tits off her cold body and fucking ate them. Drowned in a creek a week later. Spirits my ass.
Something stirs in your stomach. There's a word on the tip of your tongue. Colorless, odorless. It's...
You bet it was. No, I was in the domain, in Jamrock, being a bouncer. Fucking mask is getting sweaty. I want to take my mask off.
He's under orders, and orders are orders.
It's just nature. This guy, he used to say evil is when nature and spirit meet in the wrong place. Nah, you've earned it.
All right now. Free commerce! Keep the goods flowing!
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
This orange machine is dead still. It has... This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner and an electric freezer, the ice around it slowly melting. Ice groans and howls under the strain of your giant Kvalsund multi-tool until the lid cracks open. Darkness lies inside, but you can faintly make out an object, intricate and foreign, left there for a sub-zero beauty sleep, a filament memory with the words "off-site copy" written on its side. Disappointment washes over you as you stare into the almost empty ice cream maker.
A scoop of ice cream would have been nice, yes.
You gently lift the cube from its frosty bedding, careful not to damage it.
We should take it back to Miss Lukanen Kilda as soon as possible. I'm not sure how well unused filaments tolerate room temperatures.
Yes, but aren't you curious to know what's on the precious filament? There's a radio computer upstairs. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. The filament slides out of its glowing nest. Like a smooth drawer, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the speaker comes to life.
Good afternoon. Fortress, please repeat. Is this the offset copy? Good. Please repeat the password. No, that's not it.
What does she mean? That's not it. What's the password then?
Receive.
Attends, c'est l'autre.
Fortress accident. Thank you.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. The filament slides out of its glowing nest. Like a smooth drawer, the filament, the speaker.
Good afternoon. Please repeat. Is this the product? Good. Good. I've unlocked the production schedule. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament.
Really? She just used the same password? Maybe those radio computer guys aren't that paranoid after all.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard. With a quiet determination, the printer starts printing, a piece of paper unfolding like a handheld fan. A black crisscross of letters covers its surface. It's a project report written by the lead producer, Andrew Andy Schott, about Whirl Untethered, a radio game developed by Studio Fortress Accident. The first few pages give an overview of the capital and workforce, while the rest of it seems to be a production schedule. In its short time of existence, Fortress Accident SCA managed to burn through truly insane amounts of money. The first tranche of seed financing brought in 150,000 Ria, but then came the delays. Eventually, the damage reached 400,000 Ria, with only half of the game finished. 400,000 Ria? You're my yo. These guys knew how to party. Let's just say it was a real adventure for their Igaunian investor. Fortress Accident employed 18 people, the bulk of the team composed of writers and concept artists. There were also radio programmers, sound engineers, a CEO, 2 marketing experts, and a single overburdened producer who developed a habit of popping Pyrrolidon in the basement to escape his obligations. But on the other hand, their obligations were piling up at an inhumane rate, a rate that could only be amended by Pyrrolidon. The production schedule depicts their glorious descent into bankruptcy. It was impossible not to fail. The project was too large, and no amount of money could satiate the ever-expanding ambitions of the development team. They tried to make a 4 million real game with 400,000 in their bank account. They thought they could bridge the gap with pure willpower and imagination. They couldn't. No, even then, success remained within an ever-narrowing margin of possibility that, despite everything, never entirely disappeared. That is, until they discovered the Valley of the Heads. At the 11th hour, the lead designer, Jimsk-born Sulisław Jalisa, decided that what Wirral Untethered needed was a secret mystical location at the extreme edge of the map. This place was to be the Valley of the Heads, where the heads of all the headless constructs could be found. The player would have been able to choose a head for their headless party member, and each head would have been voiced on air by a professional actor. The world had never seen their kind before, and might never again. So many. The last count, there were approximately 10,000 heads for 10,000 headless men, all of which could be endlessly recombined. Do you really want to know? There seems to be a calculation here, but it may take a while. The lieutenant taps his foot impatiently, his arms folded tight against his chest. He's dying for a cigarette. Come to think of it, you are too. What if you broke the radio computer? What if it's never going to stop? And that's it. Well, yeah, that and the catastrophic data loss. On the nature of the data loss, there's ominously little information in the production log. It comes at the very end, where things get fuzzy and dark, where tables and numbers seem to vanish into an eerie nothingness, before the Egonian investors pulled the plug. What is clear is that one day, an unidentified numeric anomaly occurred on the East Insulindian lintel front, just as the Wirral Untethered project was being compiled that day. When the project was returned, it was completely blank. The team spent weeks on the phone with Lintel, the service provider, but despite their diagnostics, they could never produce a satisfactory explanation or pay for the loss. Always read the terms of service. Mysteriously enough, it seems that the off-site copy happened to be on-site when the catastrophic data loss occurred. It was the lead programmer's responsibility to oversee weekly maintenance of the off-site copy and, well, keep it off-site. An explanatory note from the lead programmer has been attached. S. Luukkonen Kilda, the lead programmer of Fortress Accident, the off-site copy was on-site because there was no off-site anymore. Not for me, not after 8 months of crunch. I didn't have a home anymore, so I started keeping it in the basement in the ice bear refrigerator near where I went to sleep. It was perfectly safe there. The temperature conditions were optimal. Her former colleagues would agree with you. The production schedule ends with a few random notes that seem to be added sometime later. 4 months later, by an unknown author. I am the only one left, and it's gotten rather damp here. A few other businesses have gone under too. Slipstream switched to making skis, and the hairdressers just left, cursing Martinez. They're right, though. Something's seriously wrong with this place. Martinez, all of it. Still haven't got an answer from Lintel about what happened. All I could get were the physical coordinates of the error on the East Insulindian front on that day. Since the computation happened on air, I reckoned it had to coincide with an actually existing location. I have compared the coordinates to a map of Revachol West. Turns out it's only 800 meters from here. The address is Saint-Brun 1147. I am going there to look this thing in the eye.
Saint-Brun 1147? That's what the street sign next to the church said.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard. This old fireplace,
A diagram for summoning some time-forgotten being. The symbols seem very esoteric.
radio frequency unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced. Perhaps looks like a survey. They must have had massive air width. Whoever a list of all of this.
My God. It's as if the less money they had, the more ambitious their project became. The schedule. I know doom when I see it. The company was running out of funding.
Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo from your flashlight. Some of the writing has faded with.
Okay. What do you think is going on with that computer, chalkboard, and fireplace? No, that's not it. I think...
Like he's ready to lay out a fine theory, crafted together like a puzzle box.
it looks like one of those popular pen and paper role-playing games. Only these people were trying to automate it, make it work on radio computers. And by these people, I mean people in Sona's radio game company, Fortress Accident.
Utter madness, he thinks, as a compliment.
Through call-in stations, none of the players have to be physically present. Anyone in the world can participate in the game, as long as they have a two-way radio. Then there's the game master frequency that listens in on the smaller call-in stations. I think that was supposed to coordinate the stories, functioning as a master of ceremonies of sorts.
His fascination has swept aside other concerns for the moment. He's a little hooked. Coordinating so many games would take a whole switchboard of people, possibly divided into sub-frequencies.
Not to my knowledge. They make automated games in Graz, Messina, Königstein. You know, places with industry. But I don't think anyone has attempted to create an inter-isolary game before. We just don't have the technology. Indeed, those Welkins are a dead giveaway. Role-playing people love that stuff. The world looks like a modified version of the WeWorld board game, with hit death thrown in. Indeed, it's ambitious and untethered from reality, but... I don't think so. I think they genuinely believed. Okay, let's keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
It's you again. What is it? Yeah. By friends, you mean his squad mates from Cronell.
Wouldn't want to beat up his grandma.
Nervous, snickering. There's a rush of adrenaline present.
This is what happens if you take the law into your own hands. Other people start doing it too.
Let them come. The Hardy Boys are right fucking here.
You heard the man. Right here. We're armed. We got the whole district behind us, and Glenn. Glenn is fucking crazy.
Yeah. A well-oiled murder machine.
The mood is on the rise. They're feeling confident, ready to punch out the whole Merc platoon.
We got weapons of our own. We got Ister 50s, Zeeligers. Glenn's got a knock cannon at home. I guess we're gonna see, aren't we? Yeah, like you've been up against ceramic armor. You haven't even seen the whole suit, right? I've seen the whole fucking thing, and it didn't make him immortal. So are the local gangs, the fucking Barmy Army, and the Madre scum. You've been out there, seen it.
Yeah. Where are they now, huh? Sent back to Madre in an airtight cargo crate.
These people are trained military professionals, special forces, as you said. They're not a gang or Barmy army.
No, they're not. They're uncoordinated and drunk. Don't forget, we're listening in on their communications. Their shit is way apart. Big fucking surprise. They hire psycho scum, arm them to the teeth, and let them loose in the city. What do you think is gonna happen? What do you mean, okay? No, they won't. Get out of here with your negative energy.
He really doesn't like you ruffling their feathers like that on what might be the eve of battle.
All he means is that the situation is serious.
No wonder you cops get shot to shit every day. Can't go to war with an attitude like that.
I do not understand. They're just stupid, probably. Too stupid to understand the arguments. Maybe the lieutenant could do it for you. Those are the other guys. My shit is solid gold. You can trust. Oh, you don't like. Why is Goldmouth mean to him?
Thanks for your time, huh? Really, we are ready to begin Martinez.
Yeah, let them know. We'll kill you dead. Goddamn right. Don't come around if you're not from around.
Fuck you! I'm not from around. That's not why we...
There we go. Don't come to the Wild North if you are not white enough.
It wasn't that. It wasn't... We didn't hit him, okay?
That's it. That's the weak one. You flushed him out. Now go in for the...
Officer, you will be next if you don't shut up.
Firearm, a Glass 08 or a 38 caliber pistol.
either is small enough for you to have missed. He's onto you. He knows what you're trying to do. Steel yourself. Push on. Just ignore Theo.
We didn't kill him. We didn't even hang him. He was dead when...
Shut up, Angus!
Fatty! Say one more thing to the cops and I'll...
Dennis, stand down, or I'll beat your head in. Theo, take your hand off the belt. This isn't 31. I've got this under control. Angie, where's your goddamn inhaler? You sound like you're dying.
I left it home. I can't get it. I'm too fucked. I'm sorry.
Why are you so fucking fat, Angus? Now it's all pointless. Because of you. You wasted my time. I told you, Titus. I told you just give her up.
Lizzie, your help is no longer needed here. Go tell Everard.
Fine. I'll tell him. After a long walk along the coast.
What just happened between these two? You're in. He's all yours. Questions. He nods.
You hanged the corpse to cover up the real cause of death. What was it?
We're not sure. Probably a bullet. The wound was difficult to see.
The coroner and his assistant are wrapped in blue. Hands covered in blue gloves. Mouths covered by blue masks. Bodies by blue aprons. The coroner wipes his brow, scalpel still in his hand. Get the light. Shine it in his mouth. He tells his assistant. The coroner squats to better see the light illumines the darkness inside. Well, shit. Can't blame them for missing that. Get the saw, Alan. This just got fun.
'Cause the girls asked us to. They were in some shit.
Did she kill him?
Cop, I have no idea. The girl says she didn't.
He doesn't think she did. Or at least he hopes she didn't.
Classier came down. She seemed really out of it. Drugged up, even more than usual. Bug-eyed and gurning, you know? Not in a fun way. It looked like she'd redosed after something went down. I've seen that look before. She was scared. I knew someone had died. I've done this job for 10 years. I've seen it before. It's the politician in the motel room with the dead hooker scenario. Only in reverse.
Good analogy, boss.
You don't get to talk yet, Shanky. You're still on the bench. And you keep taking it easy too, Angus. We went upstairs. Sure as day the merc was dead. There was a bullet hole through the window. Fucking dirty sheets and bottles everywhere. Tibbs patched the window. And the corpse. We hanged. Me too.
The lieutenant gives a smile only you can see.
Nah, he's my brother. He's in the window replacement business.
Right now, he's grateful he hasn't gotten his brother into this mess.
You may have noticed our girl's in some shit of her own. They can't show up on police radar kind. There are people after her. From the old world. Where she came from. They're powerful. Connected to the moral intern. She's clearly afraid for her life. Says if she showed up in your systems, she'd be ghosted away.
And why would you help someone like that? By taking on a murder?
Why would I? I guess we abide all sorts of runaways and losers here. It's a Martinez thing. Not yet. Just some ideas. She says the shot came from outside, behind the window somewhere. So that's a clue. I'm thinking someone's past caught up with them. Either hers or his.
Hers, you mean?
I mean the people after Klausya. Maybe the shot missed. Maybe it was meant for her.
I like that. Been thinking the same thing myself.
My dude. One of those mercenary buddies of his could have done it. They got guns, training, years of bad blood, probably. Or it could have been someone else from Crenell. Tell you what I'd do. Check out the coast for vantage points. Maybe consult with a ballistics buddy of mine. That's what I'd do. If I wasn't too busy doing this clown dance with you.
He's calm now, threw all that turmoil away and became himself again.
In a manner of speaking. We had help from another girl. It was her idea to hang him, and I liked it, for political reasons. It sent a good message. Fella, you think too much. He's off all right. You're gonna hurt your head.
A little too far there, but you're definitely right.
That woman is just affiliated with the Hardy Boys. You don't know her, anyway. We're Hardy Boys, and that's it. Nope, you're not getting to her. It's Klausya you want to talk to. You do that. Hey, cop, before you go.
Suddenly, the wind picks up outside. You hear it rattling the large windows in their frames. It carries newspapers, circles the whirling in rags in a warm column.
She, Klausya, came to Martinez to hide. Many of us did. This is where you wash up when there's nowhere left to go. The Union takes you in. Now, she refused that protection, but...
Still, after all this headache...
That's right. If we didn't take care of the people who end up here, this place would just be a couple of ruins and some cargo containers.
We'll take that into account.
Mm-hmm.
It's always good to see you.
Something in her demeanor has changed. She's tired, consigned to her fate, to being here with you and what's to come.
I understand. I knew there was a chance you'd get them to tell you. It's what you do. You're the police. For what it's worth, I'm sorry for wasting your time.
If you knew we would find out eventually, why did you waste our time?
Because of the Hardys. I couldn't just dispense with them. They were only trying to help me. Out of the shit I'd gotten into.
Is she implying the Hardy Boys are the law?
You're right. There's more. You answer to the coalition government, and by extension, the moral intern.
Briefly glancing over her shoulder to the sea, as she's done time and time again. Where the cold oceanic expanse lies, and behind it, another world.
You share a database with them. You send people to their courts. Just business, but bad business for some people in the moral intern. If I show up in your records, officer, they will find me. They will...
What happens if they do?
They will kill me, sir. If you file my name, take me in for questioning, enter me into the moral intern mill. Well, then I'm fucked. For nothing. This murder didn't have anything to do with me. It's not nice, but it's not illegal. Not here in Revachol, or even in Oranje.
What exactly did you do?
Industrial espionage. I joined a business collective with the intention of betraying them. I did my job well enough to be asked to do it again. With a bigger company. The kind you really, really don't fuck with. I took their ledgers, 2 decades worth of accounting.
I need the names of the companies involved and who hired you.
The job was Louis County Savings Bank. They sound small, but they're part of the Louis conglomerate. That was the second job. The first was some printer company. You wouldn't know them.
But she really destroyed them. She still feels it.
As to who hired me for the job, I don't know. But they're after me too, along with Luskop and their friends in the MI. Once you're done in the competitive intelligence circuit, you don't have allies. You're radioactive. I am a destroyer. People lost their jobs. Good people. Not just C-suite assholes. And the way I got into accounting. A lot of people got hurt. But that's just more of my shit you shouldn't have to deal with. You're solving a murder.
That can wait. Look into her eyes. There's more.
One of them killed themselves because of me. I don't. How do you live with yourself? By bargaining, then. I do that too. It's not all that effective. We were there. Together. In bed, I mean. Okay. He was in a kneeling position. He had just entered me. I was on my back, looking at him. I heard the window behind me shatter, and I turned to look. There was a hole in the glass. I turned back to him. His eyes were looking through me, and his mouth was open, dumb. I could see. I could.
A great pain moves through her, a dark and indefinite wave. She continues in spite of it.
I knew he was dead, before he fell down on top of me.
You were right. He did enjoy the moment of his death.
He was heavy. I pushed him off and he fell to the floor. There. He only had his boots on. I bit the pillow, not to scream, then ran downstairs. I waited for the second shot to come. For me. I thought there would be one. It never came.
She's forgotten about her cigarette. The butt has burned right down to her fingernails.
So am I.
She throws it away and immediately proceeds to light another one.
What time was this? When did it happen? It would help us if you could be as precise as possible.
11:30 to 12:15. I don't know the exact time. Around midnight.
It's okay. Were you inebriated?
Not as much as usual. He'd done a line, plus other things. I was drinking.
Wait, Titus said she was gurning her jaw off, much more than usual.
Oh yeah. I did one of his lines, just to clear my head.
Good thinking. Clear your head. You should clear your head. Get into his mindset.
Did you hear or see the shooter in the course of this?
No. Nothing. I was trapped. I was stuck in my room downstairs. I got some clothes on and crawled back up, drew the blinds. Blood was coming from his mouth. Not a lot. Just a little. He was still on the floor, slouched. I couldn't be there with him anymore, so I ran down and out of my room, into the hallway, down the stairs. I knew there would be people there.
Run, woman. Run past them and out into the streets where it's dark and people move. To the lorries at the intersection, as far as you can.
I already ran. I ran from an entire Isola. I can't run any further. Not with these people. This is as far as it gets. Sylvie was tending the bar. A lot of people were there. The Hardys were at the table in front of the stage. I think the Union box was full. Ruby was there too. They were having such a good time. I sat down and they all welcomed me. I didn't even have to say anything. Ruby knew something was wrong.
Ruby?
Ruby. You know, the leader.
The leader? Of what?
The Hardy Boys. Well, nominally, yes. Ruby's the one they go to when things happen, like things they need taken care of. She's the organizer.
This Ruby, in her phrasing, is entrusted with great power. She trusts her. So do the others.
Would you say she is the 8th Hardy Boy?
Why not?
Does she also party with Ruby, however?
No.
Still, there is something there. She won't tell you now.
Well, Ruby said let's talk upstairs. I showed her the room. I've known these people since December. They know my situation, that I can't leave a paper trail. Ruby was the first one I told. She said she'd take care of this. It's what she does, you know, take care of things. I helped her get the body to the bathroom. We used a belt to pull him up under the shower, to keep him upright.
To mislead you, they were tampering with the body.
To produce lividity, matching a hanging?
Yes.
We completely missed the tampering. Looks like you got there in time. What was this, 20 minutes after death?
Oops.
About 20, yes. Ruby explained it would make the blood... You know what he does. Ruby went outside to talk to Titus and the boys. I was just looking at Lely in the bathroom. I had to put his clothes back on. His armor, too. It was tough, but I've seen him take it off and put it on many times. It took Ruby maybe half an hour to come back with Titus. I'd gotten him ready by then. They carried him out. I knew what they were going to do. Make it look like a hanging. Ruby said they would. Ruby said to wait here. She also said I wouldn't see her for a while. That we should lay low or something. So I did. I don't know. I haven't seen her since.
We will need to take this question to the Hardy Boys.
When he was shot? I may have. I don't know. I couldn't hear anything over the glass exploding.
The gunshot wasn't that loud. This is something to keep in mind when assessing the distance of the shot.
What? Why would I put myself through this? Insanity. Get myself cornered like this. He wouldn't have died if it weren't for me. I know that. But I would never hurt him.
All kinds of crazy things happen when drugs are involved. Sweet, sweet drugs. It could have been a desire murder. Maybe an act of jealousy. Now, you guys suddenly have theories pouring out, when they're obviously just stabs in the dark.
I'm sad to hear that. They must have said it in some fit of frustration or under pressure. They couldn't have meant it. I've talked to them after it happened. No one has implicated me.
She's getting scared now of you, the downstairs people, all of it.
I did not kill him to defend myself from rape. I told you before. That wasn't what happened. What does that mean?
Do drugs make you aggressive?
No. People don't take drugs to kill each other. They take them to feel okay with each other. I thought you Ravishol people would be more enlightened on this. I'm sorry, officer. I'm under some stress here.
She simply shakes her head. She has the training for it. 2, maybe 3 years of self-defense. Her body is hard and lean underneath that jumpsuit.
Like what? That's the first thing that went through my head when I heard the glass break. I thought they'd found me. They've killed him to punish me. All last week, I've tried not to talk to anyone or be seen with anyone so they wouldn't be hurt. I've come to understand, however, this is paranoia. What happened didn't have anything to do with me. I just don't know. I don't know anything.
We can't go after loose cap. Not yet. There are other, saner leads.
I don't ask you to, Lieutenant. If there's one thing I know, it's that you'll get nothing from there. Because I'm an idiot.
Which is an indicator of truth.
You have to understand, the people around here, no one was making the call, and he kept rotting. And then they picked his clothes off, and that little fucker threw stones at him. He kept throwing stones at him for 3 days. I could hear the thud, thud. So I called you. I hope with all my heart it's not the last thing I do in Ravishol. Last week, Angus and Titus's brother, I think he's called Tibbs, took care of it.
She nods, silently. She doesn't even smoke, just picks up the cold coffee and holds it in her hands. He's thinking, are we done here? Or maybe you should take her to the station for safekeeping. She lied to you, and she's a flight risk. No, that won't be necessary. Just leave her alone. She's been through enough. She doesn't need this police brutality. Multiface, I'm beginning to doubt your judgment. Are you sure you're not sleeping on the post? You have to wake this one up, with force, if you want to continue pushing her.
On va tenter.
She looks back. Don't worry, we will see. You are advised. There are muscles on nothing. You are not. Anything. Air moves in your windpipe. Your heart. She presses her elbows against her waist and slow. Her hair brushes her shoulders, making a small hissing sound. The strange moment ends. It was brief, no longer than 2.2 seconds.
Yeah. Là, on va réexaminer la scène de crime.
You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic.
What do you see? A week?
It is not impossible.
As I said, I pulled...
Correct again.
So I'm guessing that's the skinny Hardy boy. The one with his front teeth missing. Maybe you're right and it's someone else. Well, 200...
He might be right. 200 kilograms of living weight is unlikely.
The fat guy from the mess hall isn't that obese. He's more like a farm boy. Definitely not 250 kilograms on his own. Maybe it was...
There is real, palpable excitement in his voice at the prospect of it not being a giant.
I do. The fat guy. Interesting.
Oh, this one's easy. Way too easy. It's...
With a piece of sandpaper glued to the throttle. Which means that the missing lady driver was also present at the lynching? That's it. She's the odd soul. This looks like proof the missing 8th person at the lynching was Ruby. Do you think that Hardy and his boys could also be involved in the drug operation? You're right. But we should still go and see what Titus Hardy has got to say on the matter. This might throw them off, work in our advantage. So, a week?
It is not.
As I said...
Correct again. Sub-Zero.
It's you again. What is it? Why? Sounds like you're making her a suspect in this. Not on my watch, you're not. Ruby's one of us. We're not gonna throw her under your moral intern steamroller. Fuck that shit.
And fuck you too, moral
Ruby is missing. If you hide from the police in a murder investigation, you become a suspect. You know how it works, guys.
That's nothing. That's just legalese. You don't even have a sound theory. I don't want to be rude, but we're trying to get some R&R here. Think you could fuck off now?
I think we'll keep sticking around, Titus. You'll be surprised at how quickly a theory presents itself if you keep looking.
From the corner of your eye, you see a little bird fly into the bush, right behind the window, behind Titus's back.
Il a quoi le piaf là?
Fuck does Kuno care? The fuck about it? Your test. Get lost. Yeah? The kingdom of Kuno. Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give a shit. The fuck do you want with good call, Pigmeister? Kuno.
I'll die before I squeal, pig.
The trash container. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste. It's just organic waste, cold and slimy on your hands. Apple and potato peels, mostly. Unidentified sludge, and the occasional chicken bone thrown in for good measure. But hey, nothing. It's nothing. Nothing more to see here. What's this? A blue piece of plastic sticks out from the apple peels. It's shiny. Looks like the corner of something. Something larger. A clipboard. A blue plastic clipboard with moist papers hanging from it. They look badly damaged, but you can still make out forms and notes, written in a man's handwriting.
Officer, is that your paperwork? Yes, it is. Look. This plastic has the RCM street grid on it. You've even got an autopsy form. If you don't mind my asking, how could you have let your paperwork end up in the trash? Well...
His eyes express a rare condolence. Then he picks it up.
Lucky we found it. You should take stock of what remains, just to be sure some has not made it into the hands of the RCM's adversaries. Organized crime and the like. There might have been police secrets in your notes. It would also not hurt to start taking notes on the case. Now, tell me what your eagle eyes see. Or are we finished?
Some items, such as the ledger you found, are interactable. Go to your inventory.
The container sounds a muffled gong. It's the ledger you found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of white and yellow papers hanging from plastic board, barely held together by a metal clip. This sad display is made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner. There's a piece of toilet paper, or is it cleaning tissue? No, it's toilet paper, desperately sticking to the back of the blue plastic clipboard. It's a metaphor for you. Below the pathetics, terror. Do not look into its blue heart. It's just toilet paper sticking to the back of the plastic clipboard. You can take it off if you want. Still wet, the toilet paper peels off the plastic easily. All you have to do is shake it off with your finger and voila! The ledger now looks marginally better. An aluminium block runs the width of the board, biting down on the paperwork. Its crocodile teeth are the only thing keeping the papers together. A regular pencil, the tip worn down to nothing, has been attached to the clip. The surface is interrupted by a silvery sticker. It's rectangular, sparkling with iridescence. You don't know how you didn't notice it before. Looks like an official mark, made to be low visibility outside the right circumstances.
What? That thing. It's a halogen watermark. We use it for adding information to RCM property. It depends. Aside from an anti-counterfeiting stamp, mine has my station number and address. The information varies by date of issue.
How many years you've been on the force, he's thinking. It'll have that.
Any capable light with the right wavelength will do. All RCM vehicles have headlights designed to reveal halogen watermarks. Mine too.
This means you can read the watermarks if you just turn the lights on.
Okay.
While a bunch of sodden papers sag from the clipboard in your hand, it's a sorry sight. They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol, and covered in dense blue handwriting. Ink escapes into watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages. The paper itself is checkered, with faint red lines, forming short paragraphs. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty. You count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in your hands. They appear to be sufficiently organized and extremely dense, if mostly illegible. Work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter. These are handwritten logs of investigations dating back to January 51, this year. The exact number is hard to estimate due to missing pages and an odd naming convention. But there are at least 20, maybe 30 cases undertaken, not completed, mind you. Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. Each investigation has its case number written on the margins, yet, still more tellingly, most are accompanied by a name. Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Another yet, The Unsolvable Case. Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the hookah parlor. Even the rare article-free collapsing tenement. Murder features prominently throughout. You like this grimy murdering, don't you? Wish there was one in there about a drug den. You love those. Gets the blood pumping. It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close.
You mean the alphanumeric? Officer, precinct, time of arrival at the scene? Oh, you mean the titular? Yes, well, so do I. In our defense, almost everyone in the RCM does. It's a holdover from the early days of the RCM, right after the revolution, when the organization had little idea how to do things. It persists in an unofficial capacity. Officers use these titles to refer to their work among themselves. Again, in your defense, I seem to have named one the man with the hole in his head. That was a real person. His death was real. Still, I named it that, to amuse myself. I pray his loved ones never find out. Rail spiked through the head. He died. It was a workplace accident.
There is, for precisely one more. 15 pages near the end remain untouched by the damage. The checkered grid forms a structure of passages, breaking the case into subtasks to accomplish. The ledger only comes with an old, worn-down lead pencil. It will do, barely. But the lieutenant looks at his blue notebook. 2 fat, shiny pens hang from the binder, like large-caliber bullets on an ammo belt. It's downright incriminating. He has little choice but to give you one, although he really does not want to. He is not really saying anything, just standing there, looking at them. Wordless, he pulls one from the loop and hands it to you. The pen is cold, blue, and ready to write. The tasks you've completed flow out of the blue oblong pen in a brash freehand uncannily similar to the rest of the letters. The wording comes easily. It's almost robotically simple, a language developed for mental rigor and simplicity. Inspect the victim's body. Get the body down. Interview the cafeteria manager. A satisfying slash sounds across the paper. You're done, it seems to say. And you, and you. Things to be done and things already done. The composition of reality. This is an extremely useful tool for a detective of the citizens' militia. Now all that remains is to name the case.
No, actually. Any ideas? Great. That's great. That's actually what I was thinking too. The Hanged Man. Good, strong name. We have a very good name for the case now. I'm going to start calling it the Hanged Man. It's good we sorted this out.
You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. In the back, you see thin, translucent copy of paper. Some neon yellow, some bright red, all covered in boxes, like marching armies. These look like official forms, waiting to be filled out. 3. The topmost are misconduct fines, the middle ones are station calls, and the bottommost are field autopsy forms. Each is easy enough to make sense of. A monetary penalization ranging from 20 to 250 real. Severe cases allow for 1,000 real, but that requires special paperwork. The details of issuing these fines are spread out over the rest of the fields. A tool for manipulation. Give the lowest amount and people will be ingratiated to you. These are quite sinister in turn. They give a date and time for the person to appear at the specified precinct police station. Below the call are the criminal charges you risk by not appearing. All in a print so small it could be considered downright cute. A dozen pages of thin copy paper, bright red in color. You see the parameters of a deceased human form waiting to be filled in. Age, sex, condition of internal organs, color of the irises, predation marks, condition of sexual organs. Yes, all that remains now is to fill those forms and hand them to people. Fines for wrongdoers, interview requests for bad guys, and field autopsies to dead guys. What delicious power hid within this pathetic mess. You feel better. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being sandwiched between the board and the rest of the paperwork must have spared the fragile copier paper. It's made of dark blue plastic, hard enough to beat someone to submission with. The edges are rounded, however. The U4 size board feels thick and heavy in your hand. Light shimmers on its wet surface. On the back you see the embossed letters, RCM. Something rattles inside, ever so lightly. Is there a hidden compartment? And something small inside, light, made of paper or cardboard, or dried flowers perhaps. The plastic shimmers like lapis lazuli, but it is not see-through. You cannot see to its center. There's pain in there, if you want some. That much you know. Blue. The blue heart. Don't look into it. With your hands, U4 sized pages hang from the clip screwed to the top of the board. The two sides of the board appear slightly misaligned. like a drawer that's come off its slides. If you bend the plastic on your knee slowly, the slides snap back into place. It should be possible to just, without resistance or sound, the two panels move against each other. The compartment is now open. 2 ticket stubs and a handmade postcard. 2 octopuses are smiling, reaching their tentacles toward each other in the colored pencil drawings. The tickets permit access to the zoo in Revachol East. The aquarium costs extra. These let you go there too. Thin wax paper has been glued to a piece of cardboard. Sounds like leaves rustling when you pick it up. You see violet flowers, floral patterns, patches of glue. It smells of chewing gum, apricot flavored, exactly like the gum wrapper you found, the same brand of chewing gum. Familiar handwriting lines the inside of the card, looped, round letters in a woman's hand. Harry, it begins. You're already reading. I wanted to write you a letter so you can read it when you wake up. Maybe it will make you happy. Throw it away, please. A merciful wind blows in from the bay of Revachol, dusting the ground at your feet and raising newspapers far away. You feel the card slipping into it.
Let go.
Frisson covers your entire body, a feeling of cold, a persistent chill. Your hands shake, holding onto it. Every morning when I step out and you're asleep behind me, it says, I find a little piece of sadness in me. I carry it in my chest down Voyager Road. Every step I take, it grows. By the time I reach the fuel station, it has filled me entirely. I step onto the light rail and look back. Sparks fall from the bow collector. I know it will be like this until late afternoon, when I get off the 42 and walk back to you. You. Every step I take will get lighter. It almost makes me run. Sometimes I do. I can't believe I met you. I can't believe the happiness I feel with you. You have a vast, vast soul, and I will always, always, always come back to it. Kisses, kisses, kisses. You feel the air sucked out of your lungs and the blood sucked out of your head. Everything around you gets dark. Small white dots appear. You feel the ledger slip from your hand. No, hold on. To what? There's nothing.
Detective, is everything all right?
emerge out of nothingness. In the upholstered cabin of Lieutenant Kitsuragi's motor carriage, seated in the driver's basket, the air is thick with leatherworks and heavy fuel oil. Cold water runs down your chin.
Drink. Water.
The water is cold, silvery, the stuff of life itself, as it pours down your parched throat. The pounding in your head recedes. The darkness parts.
Drink. You haven't drunk water in 2 days. Did you know the human body is not made to survive on alcohol alone? You need a secondary form of hydration.
With greedy gulps, you down half a liter of cold water. Some of it spills on the driver's seat. The lieutenant pays no heed to it.
What happened? You were reading your paperwork. Then you passed out. I carried you to my kinema to take you to a hospital. Then you came to. 10 minutes, maybe. That does sometimes happen. You dropped these. Are you okay to proceed? Good.
The Ledger of Failure and Hatred is a special item that can be used both as an interactable and a tool equipped in your held slot for skill bonuses. Find it under the Tools tab in your inventory.
Mhm.
It's the ledger you found in the trash, a cabbage of papers hanging from the book. Without resistance or sound, the two panels move against each other. The compartment it's slightly, ever so slightly, difficult to breathe once you've done so. The drawer is locked. Blue ink drips from the white pages in your hand. Your hand shakes. You're flushed with adrenaline. The acidic stench of rotting food is rubbed off on the cellulose. It now forms the base of the experience. This base surrounded by a faint air of spoiled meat, the stuff of death itself, and then sprinkled liberally with the citrus zest of toilet cleaner. You know, like the bits they put into public piss bowls, probably called Fermi Discrete or Axel or something. At some point in its journey, the ledger has seen the inside of a public toilet. If you knew it was dunked in the toilet before getting chucked into the trash, why are you sniffing it? Torturing your own nose for no reason is not conducive to case cracking, bud. Your nose is somewhere between grateful and resentful. Arson, petty theft, you don't exactly close them so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. Yes, you can piece them together using the alphanumeric code on the margin. It always begins with HDB41, then date of initialization and time of arrival on the scene, followed by the title. For example, HDB 41120111700, the next world mural. Why yes, your precinct number is 41. Every last alphanumeric in the files begins with it, and these are your case files. It's safe to say HDB are your initials. Harriet Dubois, HDB. That's comforting to hear. Now, detective, it takes half an hour to piece one of these together, if you still want to. Here are your options. This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement overlooking central Jamrock. The building is a sparsely inhabited ghost tower, part of a failed real estate development called Grand Couronne. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes, a man and a woman, are kissing. The text cut into their form reads, "True love is possible only in the next world. For new people, it is too late for us. Wreak havoc on the middle class." People call it that thing and that fucking thing. It's visible for miles. In 2 days, the station's complaints desk gets clogged with requests to remove the bummer. You and your partner are assigned to the case. The graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the belles-lettres have the literage of industrial paint to cover the surface. One of the graffito artists is rumored to be rich. They take responsibility for the execution, but not the design. The ideologue of the Next World mural, as the crew calls it, remains an unknown. The case files do not show you finding the author of the design. The crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal, citing public support for conservation. This leads to a debate in Precinct 41, which then spreads to the streets of Jamrock, ending in a rare plebiscite organized by you and the rest of Row 3. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villalobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what appears to be a lot of rambling on the streets as to how juvenile and stupid the mural is, given a choice between 2 options. A staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it. Turns out the opposition were a loud minority, and that love truly is possible in the next world for new people, and it is too late for us. Did anyone ask you what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger? What do you want to tackle next, or are we done? AKA Leslie and Burke, AKA the public indecency drunk and the property damage drunk, is a cursed case. It has been passed from unsuspecting officer to unsuspecting officer for 10 years. On January 29, the unsolvable case made its way to you. Why you accepted it, it is unclear. Every officer, and indeed most civilians in Jamrock, know it's unsolvable. You were so drunk you didn't remember what it was when you signed on. That, or you were high. Leslie will always take his pants off when he's drunk. Burke will always trash everything. It's just what they do. It is their nature. You cannot change the nature of a man, and you can't lock them away because public indecency and small-scale property damage are not punishable by incarceration. The only way for Leslie to stop flashing his genitals to bypassers and for Burke to stop dismantling signage and rear-view mirrors would be for them to stop drinking alcohol, which, in their 40s or 50s, it's hard to tell because of their distorted features, is a medical improbability on par with you ceasing to produce the expression. You would think that, but you're wrong. Where's the fun in exposing your genitals or breaking stuff in your own home? No, Leslie and Burke are on the corner of Main Street and Perdition because that's where the action is. Threatening, fines, dragging them to the station, locking them up in the hellholes they live in, locking them up in the station, hypnotherapy, even trying to get the local gang of Zemyaki to take them out. The Zemyaki gave them ethanol so Burke and Leslie would expose and rampage even harder. You tried it all, and still the complaints wouldn't stop, as they hadn't stopped for 10 years. It's plain to see from the files that you, Satellite Officer JV, and Special Consultant TH had more important cases to attend to. You uncover cross-reference to several ongoing investigations, each brought to a standstill, every time you drive down Main Street. Because there they are, on the corner of Perdition. And what is Leslie doing? Good, you're learning. If the files are to be trusted, that's all there is to it. That and Burke breaking things, and the fact that they're both drunk. But then again, so are you. The case becomes considerably less comic one day when Burke takes a swing at your ledger. He must have it confused with the property he likes to damage. But the joke's on him. You're drunk out of your mind on potent Pilsner. You slam the hardened plastic board in his face. Then you proceed to beat him unconscious with it. In the process, the ledger sustains damage. The compartment within, reserved for permeable documents, is jammed shut. You stop your assault on the now unconscious Burke to open it, but are unable to do so. The officer began to cry, reports Leslie, who at this point is tending to Burke. Kill them. They broke it. He came at us, and at us. I think he was trying to kill Burko. While trying to kill Burko, you slowly come around. The permeables compartment is open. You've smashed it open on poor Burko's kneecaps. The good news is, Burke can't walk anymore. Can't get out of his apartment, an invalid. With Burke to tend to, Leslie cuts back on the indecent exposure. Maybe he flashes his genitals to Burke, who knows, but both drunks are off the street. The complaints stop. The unsolvable case is solved. Which is also why the officer responsible narrowly escapes a disciplinary hearing. The end. Do you want to read another one? It would be very interesting to read about these, wouldn't it? I mean, there seems to be a square-shaped entry wound in the victim's forehead. She's been sitting there for weeks, on her rocking chair, with a square hole in her skull, staring at the wall, her mouth agape. That's all you got. From the half hour you spent piecing it together, all you know is the entry wound was square-shaped. You never found the bullet. And then another body showed up, also with a square hole in his forehead. Who knows? Those pages are missing. What next? Don't worry. One day. Some assholes brought their couch outside and hung out on it. In the middle of the street, on the roof, on the hillside by the motorway. You know, at an unexpected location. They were young, and they thought they looked cool on it. Insufferable dicks. Young people are the worst. So anyway, you got a complaint about the damn sofa, or couch, or whatever it is. They were leaving it out in all these unexpected and whimsical locations. They took it to where they also took photos of themselves on it, and smoked cigarettes, and drank coffee because they felt it's intellectual. Cigarette butts, coffee cups, stupid couch. You had to clean it all up, and you did. So congratulations to you. Case solved. No, you didn't have time for that. These notes show that you have what is called a real goddamn job. You don't have time to be chasing down the couch assholes. You have a real job to do. What next? Murder. Tum tum tum. At the hookah parlor was a case originally assigned to an officer called Joseph Mills, who is now dead. Of circumstances completely unconnected to murder at the hookah parlor. Beaten to death by a throng of Villalobos gang members when him and his partner J.M., only initials mentioned, answered a call one night. It's a sad story, and it isn't really represented in your case files. Stop stalling and get to the murder at the hookah parlor. Joseph Mills was on this case that he just couldn't solve. Was doing it solo. Said it was a real nutcracker, a real brain twister. Was on it for, like, a month. The captain got impatient. Shit or get off the pot, Mills. Mills didn't get off the pot. Not yet. He kept at it, for a couple of weeks more, racking his brains, running with every theory as outlandish as they seemed. Still couldn't solve the murder at the hookah parlor. Tough case, he said. Toughest he's ever had. No, he was awful. Awful sense of humor, too. The worst jokes you've ever heard. Really rapey. Still, he'd been on it for months now. Said it was the final case. Said it was uncrackable. That murderer vanished into thin air. That goddamn hookah parlor was all he talked about. Okay, so the case is handed to you because Mills isn't getting anywhere, and you look into it. Here's the setup. A young man is found dead in a hookah parlor. You know, those places where you go and smoke bubblegum-flavored vapor all day. No, it's soot and water vapor. It doesn't do anything. Yeah, really lame. So anyway, young man in his 20s found with his skull busted open, right on the floor of the hookah parlor, in the middle of the day. No one else is in there. Only client that day. In perfect health, too. Some kind of movie producer. No one enters. No one exits. He's just sucking on his watermelon hookah all morning, all noon, like he usually does. He's a regular. No calls, nothing. Just sucking on the hookah until 15:45. Then bam, he's dead on the floor with his skull busted open, blood everywhere. What happened? How can it be? Mills has no idea. Invisible assassin, movie deal gone sour. Girl at the counter did it. Nothing fits. Eerie. Man just dropped dead. So you go to the parlor. You see cushions around the table. Tables low, heavy, really sharp edge. See? You can't even read the thing without solving it. Yeah, it was that. Turns out hookah does do something. It turns off your brain's oxygen supply, and you don't notice it until you get up to go to the bathroom. Yeah, he liked his hookah. Stephen was his name. Smoking hookah. Didn't you hear? I don't know. Trying to come up with a movie script, maybe. Anyway, that was Murder at the Hookah Parlor. Joseph Mills wasn't a good detective, and about 30 minutes has passed piecing it together. Next. Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard. It takes about half an hour to... Not much has changed in the...
Okay.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox.
All right. Ready? I turn, you press start. It's next to the preheater.
He's downplaying his excitement. The lieutenant is more than happy to show off his precious carriage. The dashboard lights up with orange glow. The rounds per minute gauge jumps, and the engine of the Caprice Canema comes to life with a whiny growl. Like a leopard waking from its sleep, yawning and roaring at the same time. The lights unfold with a little click, casting electrical light onto the ground before the vehicle.
There you go. I'll turn them off from the remote once you're done. We just need to stand in front of the machine now.
As you hold your ledger's clip under the headlamp, a shimmering iridescent pattern appears, one you've definitely seen before.
There she is, Révachol West.
Around the borders of the watermark are dozens, no, hundreds of micro-perforations. The rectangular watermark is overlaid with the logo of the RCM, and yet the major arteries of Révachol are all recognizable. They shimmer in the Kanema's headlights. You catch a faint glimmer from a broken beer bottle in the distance. Sounds. Two men engaged in a drunken argument, followed by the closing of some distant window. In the middle of a broken plaza, illuminated in a cone of light, two men, one slim, the other sturdy. They are on the city stage, but only one of them knows his lines.
Ah, Martinez at night. Let me see. Right here. No, it does not.
There are many of them, and they are divided into 3 separate rows. The first row has 18 dots. Not bad for what? You don't even know what it means yet. The next is the longest. It runs all the way around the border, and then some. There are so many, it's hard to count. More than 150, at least. Maybe even 200. The last row
It's rather tame. I mean that in a good way.
What's it feel like to kill a man, Mr. McCoy? A young woman asked the man across the desk from her. Honestly, babe, says John McCoy, crossing his ankles over said desk. I don't feel anything anymore. It's just like brushing my teeth. I do it once or twice a week and don't really think about it. There's no trace of guilt in his voice.
There are certain officers who treat their kills like some kind of ghoulish game. If they do happen to solve a case, it's usually by accident. But it seems as though you are, or at least were, one of the good ones. So we have that to be thankful for.
He's sincerely glad you're not a scary predator. Not to say relieved you're competent.
Yes.
It's not a problem for him to state it, however.
Everyone has their own method of coping. Some more effective or self-destructive than others. Personally, I find it helps to keep up a few hobbies. Par exemple, why not gardening? You've already got the yellow gloves.
It's meant in earnest. Please don't mistake it for a jab.
If you want to pour out the booze you've been carrying around on duty, I'm certainly not going to stop you.
A dark pool of cheap wine appears at your feet. It shimmers in the lights of the Kanema. Honorably done. You have given up some of your own blood for theirs.
Very noble of you. Are we done here?
The lieutenant nods.
Right. I'll go turn off the lights.
You can now see your statistics on your journal page, to the right of the task description.
On perd 3, on a moins 3 en autorité du coup. On a moins 2. On avait déjà moins 1. Ok. Si on peut le faire, lui, je crois pas. Hein. Intéressant, ils sont plus là. Mais ils sont plus là du tout. Attends, faut que j'essaye c'est le conteneur.
The file cabinets, the drawers. You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, you attempt to turn to your left. The lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement. And as it's all...
Ok, très bien. Attends, est-ce qu'elle est encore là ou pas? Elle est plus là. Il n'y a plus personne.
Thanks.
Non mais comment on fait pour les placer?
Yes?
It's awfully silent again, as if someone turned off the entire world outside those walls. Water inside the bowls stands still. Measurements have been marked down around the bowls, each chalk-drawn line representing a centimeter on the floor. It moves like a ghost without creating a single trace of sound. Some water spills out of the bowl, wetting the floor. The lead programmer sends you an encouraging thumbs up from across the hall. Time to run back, or maybe walk. This is a sacred place after all.
Yes, what is it? Great. Everything should be aligned now.
Miss Know-It-All is hesitating.
Yeah, nothing. Now the only thing left to do is to unmute the headphones. If we got the location right, we should then be able to hear whatever sound this anomaly makes. Honestly, I'm a little scared. I don't know. That's what I'm scared of. I don't know. It could be anything. I mean, what sound does the nothing make? How can you even listen to something that doesn't exist? What if silence is only what surrounds it, but the swallow itself is... I don't know. I'm just scared. Maybe it's going to be something terrifying. Maybe it's going to tear the world apart. Maybe I'm just tired. Yeah, you're right. Let's do it.
The lieutenant takes a step back. And then, nothing. Nothing happens as Sona Lokanen-Kilda presses unmute on her keyboard. Nothing but silence. You can hear some small animal cross the floor in the chancel. It's that quiet in the sanctuary. She doesn't answer, her eyes closed and brows knitted together in a state of deep focus, one hand cupping the headphone.
Damn it! Yeah, nothing happened, let's move on.
Despite her fear, she was hoping for something extraordinary to take place.
No, my hypothesis was wrong. According to this, I should have heard something, if I got the coordinates right. Like I said, silence is only what surrounds it. But this is just another failure. Silence sounds like silence. That's all it is. You can try on the headphones. See if you can hear anything. But don't get your hopes up.
Silence is silence? You're sure there's more to it? Everything disappears. You are draped in silence like a drowning man staring into his puny little headspace. and then the pressure changes. It feels like flying on an aerostatic, or when your ears pop, or like a subtle difference in the atmosphere, a weather change hanging in the air. What if the sound you're looking for is too low for you to hear it?
A better sound system? Alright, but where would we get one?
Suddenly, a rhythmic beat permeates the walls, causing a small patch of decorative stucco to crumble onto the wooden floor.
They should really allocate some renovation funds to this place.
No. What they really should do is shut down the disco men for disturbing neighborhood peace. You mean the speed freaks? Of course, the speed freaks. They have a fantastic sound system. And you think they would help me? I guess I could live through a week or two of peaceful coexistence.
Brilliant negotiating there, Detective, as always.
Sure. Let me know how it goes. Thanks, Officer.
Hop. Ça avance, ça avance. Ouais, ça c'est bon. Sur ce, je vous dis bonne fin de soirée, bonne nuit et à la prochaine. Bye bye.